Hi, this is Jackie from GirlWithNoName.com, and not long ago I had the distinct honor and pleasure of interviewing none other than Mike Geary, the author of The Truth About Six-Pack Abs and The Fat Burning Kitchen. And here are some of the things that he had to say.
Eat a 1,500 calorie junk food meal and pop a vitamin pill and all is good. You know, there's everything, you know, works synergistically with the phytochemicals in food, the micronutrients, all that. You can't just make up for a horrible diet with a vitamin pill. It just doesn't work that way. So back to what I was talking about with eating all of your foods from unprocessed sources. And, you know, just when you eat this kind of really nutrient-rich diet, your body gets all of the micronutrients it needs. Even if you try to overeat, your body's going to compensate later, and you're not going to have an appetite because you got all the micronutrients that you need. And it automatically it's like a self-regulating system. I did like an experiment on myself about this, and I wrote an article about it on my site. It was one of the more popular articles because, you know, it wasn't like a super scientific study. You know, it wasn't monitored by a university or anything like that. But for 6 weeks, I purposely tried to overeat. I was trying to eat as much as I could. And believe me, I can gain weight easy. When I went on a cruise this winter, and I just sort of, you know, just let it all go to hell for a week and was just like, and I gained 10 pounds, you know. But I mean, I know my lifestyle. When I got back to training hard. And, you know, I got back to eating like a pretty much perfect diet, and I lost the 10 pounds in like a week. So I was right back to where I was before. But on this experiment that I did on myself, I was, you know, the reason I started it was because I figured it was during the winter and I wanted to go on a muscle building phase. I wanted to actually try and really focus on muscle building for like 6 weeks. So I said, well, I'm going to try and really overeat here so that I have a surplus of calories and, you know, and I can gain muscle easier. What happened was I still refused to eat processed food. I mean, and that means that I really don't eat pasta or anything like that either. You know, it's mostly fruits and vegetables, meats, eggs, nuts, seeds, things like that. When I make an Italian dish, I don't make pasta. I just make a bunch of vegetables and sauce and, you know, maybe bison sausage and cheese and stuff like that. I kind of, you know, I try and stay away from the processed, refined carbs. Well, what happened was, because I was eating all of my food so clean, even though I was trying to overeat, my body would self-regulate and control my appetite later. And I would inadvertently eat less later. And everything just averaged out to where I couldn't overconsume calories, even though I was trying, because, you know, the body was getting so much nutrition, micronutrients, it was just self-regulating the hormones and appetite and all that stuff. After the 6 weeks of trying to constantly overeat, I had actually like lost a pound. So,
you're kidding me.
But it was all because I wasn't eating any processed food. Now, I guarantee you, if I was trying to overeat and I was eating processed food, it would have been drop dead simple to overeat, and I could have gained 20 pounds. Because if you're eating, you know, pasta and breads and cereals, things that tend to stimulate the appetite and make you want to eat more carbohydrates, and you know, junk foods that are going to, you know, trick your body into, you know, craving more food also, it would have been easy to gain weight. But because I was eating all whole unprocessed foods, you know, everything just self-regulates.
Right. Wow, that's really interesting. Really, really interesting. I want to talk for a minute about something else that is a little bit of a bone of contention for me, at least it is now, and that's fat. I hear a lot of people out there saying they're trying to lose weight by cutting all of their fat out of their diet. And at one point, that was something that I used to do too. I remember long time ago, I figured I had 10 pounds I wanted to lose, and I remember I ate plain popcorn for dinner for weeks at a time, just in an attempt to get my body fat down by not consuming any dietary fat. So I know Truth About Abs changed all of that for me too, my beliefs in, you know, consuming fat. So please give us your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so your body needs fat, and it's actually one of the most important macronutrients, you know, because it controls a lot of hormone regulation in your body. And people that try and cut fat intake too low, it just automatically backfires, because if you go too low, I mean, it's going to screw with your hormone balance, and things are going to be out of whack in terms of your appetite and cravings, and even just the balance of hormones in terms of being able to build muscle and burn fat. So fat is actually more important than carbohydrates, because your body can break down fat to produce energy. You can actually live on fat and protein without carbohydrates. There's some technicalities to that, but you can't live without fat. So it's also much more satiating than if you eat a high carbohydrate meal versus a higher fat meal. And I'm not talking about unhealthy fats. I'm not talking about, when I say a higher fat meal, I'm not talking about deep fried foods, junk foods that are high in fat. I'm talking about whole foods, high fat foods like nuts and whole eggs and avocados and coconuts and seeds and things like that.
Seafood.
Yeah. I mean,
seafood and
like salmon and fatty fish, things like that.
Yeah.
These fats are so important for, not just the things you hear about in the media, like the omega-3 fats, and your ratio of omega-3 to omega-6. I mean, saturated fat is important too. There's so many important roles of saturated fat in your body. When you get it from natural sources, it's healthy. So just,
right.
I won't go into that discussion now because that one will take an hour in itself. But
right.
So yeah, it helps control your appetite. It helps, maintain hormone levels. It's just so vitally important to get enough fat in your diet. And I'd even go to the extent that I think I might have read a study about this somewhere, but I would be willing to bet if you did your own study on this, you would find that almost everybody would lose body fat because of it. If you just substitute out a portion of your calories each day and take them in as a healthy fat from, let's say, either avocados or some kind of nuts like pecans, walnuts, or almonds. So say before every meal, a half an hour before your meal, you had a handful of almonds, walnuts, or pecans, or you added, a half of an avocado to your meal, and replaced that with whatever your other calories were going to come from. That everybody would lose weight, would lose body fat if that's what they're looking to do, because this is going to totally control your appetite and make you eat less. Mm-hmm. And It's also giving your body a lot of micronutrients that it needs, because nuts and avocados are very rich in, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. And I've kind of played with this on myself in the past. There was a couple times when I was trying to really cut down body fat for some reason. Say I had a trip coming up or something like that, and I actually purposely increased my proportion of calories that were coming from nuts, and it just the body fat just drops off fast. I mean, because I would.
Well, obviously the interview is a lot longer than this, so if you want to hear the rest, just head over to gwnn.me/Mike Geary Talks, and you can check out the whole interview there.